Hey everybody, welcome back to the Complete Game, episode 64. I'm your host, Curt Schilling. He's your co-host, Garrick. What's up, G?
65. Episode
65.
65.
Episode 65. That's what I
Yep.
meant to say. Coming down to the wire. Looking at the standings, seeing Boston sort of run into a 500 gap of games when they couldn't afford to, but Cleveland staying hot. Philly clinches, Brewers clinch, Cubs clinch. So yeah, getting down to the wire. Seattle, Houston. Seattle 9-1 their last 10. Houston tying Houston. Houston actually came back and tied the division. The Rangers lurking back. Want to open the show, spend the show talking about a gentleman who's going to retire after this year, who I don't know is going to get, well, he should get the credit he deserves. Clayton Kershaw has said he'll hang it up at the end of the season. Lots of questions around his postseason role on the team. Dave Roberts has said he probably will be on the roster because postseason's about trust, and he trusts him. But I want to touch on a couple things. Now, the Cy Young Award is voted on by the writers, and they've gotten it wrong, and all the things that go with that. But generally, when you find yourself in the top 10 of voting, you've had a pretty good year. And I wanted to mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 times he's finished in the top 10 Cy Young. He's won 3. Finished in the top 2 5 times, and the top 5 7 times. And that, I mean, listen to these. 2011, 21-5 with a 2.28. 2012, 14-9 with a 2.53. 2013, 16-9 with a 1.83. 2014, 21-3 with a 1.77. Then he struggled the next year, going 16-7 with a 2.13, 1.6. I mean, it's as your generation says, Nintendo numbers. And
My
a guy
generation.
he was a true ace in the regular season, and 233, 227, 236, 198, 232. He hasn't thrown 200 anywhere near 200 innings since 2015, 10 years, but that's okay. He hasn't made a full season's worth of starts in that time either. But yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, probably one of the 5 best left-handers to ever pitch. Going to finish his career with an ERA around 2.5, which is ridiculous. 19th member of the 3,000 strikeout club.
Can I cut in here?
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw, just to add up all the accolades you've been mentioning and trickling out. He's an MVP, a 3-time Cy Young winner, a pitching Triple Crown winner, an 11-time All-Star, a Gold Glover, a 5-time ERA title winner, a Roberto Clemente Award winner, a 2020 World Series champion, who as of this moment is a 222-96 win-loss record for a near 70% win clip when he starts. A 2.54 career ERA in 2,844 innings pitched, and he has 3,039 strikeouts as of this recording on September 19th.
449 starts in the big leagues, less than 100 losses.
So you kind of brought it up with the Cy Young vote, but my question about the Kershaw retirement was going to be someone who's been on the wrong side of the baseball writer's opinion, especially when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Who is the joker that keeps him from being a unanimous Hall of Famer? Or is he a unanimous Hall of Famer?
Yeah, no, there'll be one.
So what's the argument? Because postseason doesn't count. That's the only real knack.
It does count.
It does, but it doesn't.
Right.
You know, they're not
right. It does
to.
for some and not for others, which is why they need to stop being voting on it anyway. Because there's very few Jason Starks in the world, very few Tim Kirksons who take it deadly seriously and who study and whose votes are deathly important to them. And a lot of the other guys, and I know for a fact, a lot of them use the All-Star or the Hall of Fame vote as a way to create content for themselves. I didn't vote for Derek Jeter because, I didn't vote. Nolan Ryan. Yeah, and think about it. Willie Mays didn't get 100%. Hank Aaron didn't get 100%. Like, come on. So anyway, but all of that's to say this, all right? All those numbers are mind-boggling. My favorite thing in the you hit on it, you know it. He won the Roberto Clemente Award, and which I think is the bigger legacy here. Clayton Kershaw, from everything I've ever seen, heard, and found out about him, is twice the human being he is the pitcher. And if that's the case, that's pretty amazing. But everything I've ever been led to believe, this guy is a phenomenal, incredible human being. Very strong Christian, very close family, very devoted family. I guess his family's traveling with him for all his starts this year. Um, so just a really special career, and baseball is not going to be better for Clayton Kershaw leaving it, and that sucks. But
That's
kudos
such
to him.
a it's such an understated part of who, like you're saying, who he is as a person in, especially a place like LA where he came up, where there's nothing but temptation if you're the superstar pitcher, and to maintain and stay out of the line. It's like Mike Trout, you never hear about Mike
Yeah.
Trout, but he's still a legend, and you don't hear about him because he doesn't have any issues. It's Clayton Kershaw, unless he was winning a Cy Young or 25 games in a year or 300 strike, whatever it may be. You don't hear about him because he's not flashy. He doesn't show off. He's not braggadocious like much of the game is now today.
Well, he didn't have to be because he was so good, but he wasn't, which is awesome. And you know what? He is going to take some flack for the postseason stuff, but that's part of it. He's 13-13 with a 4.44 ERA.
Which
You know, it
100
is what.
guys have come and had those same lines with not as many starts because they weren't Clayton Kershaw in the regular season.
Part of a World Series champion in 2020 when he went 4-1 with the 2.9. So certainly helped them. That was during COVID and all the things that went with that. But again, uh, hats off to one of the greatest to ever do it. And I always said when I played, people would ask me about things, morality and ethics and all this other stuff, and I was always honest about who I was because, and I said it, I think I'm going to be a father and a husband a lot longer, and I'm going to be a pitcher. And thank God I've lived long enough for that to be true. But somebody who will never have to make an excuse for himself ever again. And I did. There was one number that jumped out at me in 2016. He only made 21 starts. He went 12-4 with a 1.69. In 149 innings, he struck out 172 guys, and he walked 11 for a strikeout to walk ratio of 15.64 to 1. Oh, that's so lovely. Only 12 innings shy to a 13 innings shy of qualifying for the area title, but in 21 starts, he finished fifth in the Cy Young. So, anyway, one of the greats of all time. Big news around the game. Tariq Scooble's healthy. Tigers got to feel good. I found it interesting. Paul Skeens came out and said basically, this is a wasted year if we haven't learned anything from it. And I don't think he's. Well, I know he's not saying that from a position of I've done my job, you got to do yours. He's clearly based on commentary from the clubhouse. He's a leader in there, and all things that go with that. But that's kind of it's a tough one because, dude, you're 10-10 with a 2 ERA. You had almost a perfect season. Like the bottom line is that they aren't good enough offensively to win. And next year they talked about coming into this year with Keller and Skeens and whatnot. Now they're talking about next year with Keller, Skeens, and Bubba Chandler. They're going to have to get bats, and I do they trade pitching to do that? Because they need more than one bat, and I'm not sure in that division one bat will do it for them. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in Pittsburgh this off. There'll be a lot of interesting stories. I mean, we again we talk about it, and it's painful to talk about. But the Rockies are on the back end of a 5-game losing streak. Since we mentioned it like a week ago, they haven't won a game. They're 41 and 112, and they're 1-9 their last 10. And
That's how I've been able to gamble on football for 3 weeks.
I don't know that there's ever been any place more in need of blowing it up in my life. Everything. And I know they say you got to keep people and do this, but I mean, the people that are there are responsible for the 41-112. That's how
Broken
you got there.
culture.
and you can't point to injuries or anything like that. You know, it's just been, and they're drawing 30,000 a night. Garrett,
Yeah,
people are
that's
going to
crazy.
see that team.
Well, they're not going to see the team. They're going to hang out.
Right, right.
Baseball is the ultimate social viewing sport.
Yeah.
Can I give a couple mentions on some stuff you brought up already that I
Please
had?
do.
Just quickly before we move on, Hunter Green threw a complete game yesterday for the Reds.
One hitter.
Wanted to shout him out. 1 hit, 1 walk, 109 pitches, 9 Ks against the Cubs. They're still alive. So
Yep.
that's a huge game and a 1-0 win for the Reds, which, I mean, that's awesome. And then you mentioned the Red Sox sliding. They are 5-8 since they lost Roman Anthony. They lost Wilmer Abreu. They should get him back this weekend. But they started today for the first time since, I think, mid-July on the outside looking in of the wild card race. They have a 3-game set with Tampa this week before they play at home against the Blue Jays and Tigers, who you just mentioned got Tariq Skubal back. I was going to ask, if you're on the Red Sox, do you want to play the Blue Jays and Tigers, or do you want to play the White Sox and Rockies at the end of the season? Because the Rockies can play spoiler for you.
Right. No, I was thinking about that. Basically what you've got is, when you're playing a nobody, you're their postseason. They played it's been a horrible year, and they can salvage something by knocking you out of the playoffs, and that's always a good thing for a bad team late in September. Absolutely, I'd rather play somebody in it. Although when you're playing somebody in it, I mean, look at Detroit right now. I think. Yeah, Morton started tonight. They're down 3-0 already. I mean, teams that are playing out the string, as opposed to Boston playing Tampa Bay, and as much as you can call it a rivalry after the Yankee Red Sox, Tampa Boston, there's not a lot. There wasn't in the past a lot of friendly exchanges. We didn't like them for some reason, and they didn't like us, and goes back a long way to Pedro and Gerald Williams and all that stuff. But I'd rather play somebody in it than out of it.
I think across all sports, East Coast teams just in general have more of a rivalry, but that just might be East Coast bias for me.
Yeah.
So, but the reason I asked that question is because if you look at it right now, the Yankees and the Red Sox are the two teams that have been trading places the entire last month and a half, 2 months. But the Red Sox, I mentioned, have the Blue Jays and Tigers, but the Yankees have the White Sox and Orioles, two teams who would love to be spoilers for the Yankees.
Especially against the Yankees.
That's what I mean.
There's a big series actually in Cincinnati tonight. Imanaga versus Lodolo, Cubs Reds. Andahar homered in the first to give the Reds a 1-0 lead, and he's been a revelation for them.
And before I quickly move out of the Red Sox talk, you mentioned the Guardians as well have stayed hot. They've won 11 of 12, but the Sox have the tiebreaker in that series. I believe it's 5-4 Red Sox, so they just have to stay at least on pace with them to keep the Guardians out. And then there's another crucial series that I think you're about to see. Astros-Mariners starts tonight. That's going to be a real rubber match to see who takes the AL West.
Yep. All right. What's that? Where's here? Okay. Yeah, I'm recording a podcast.
Mom did the Guess Your Teammate already.
Mom did the Guess Your Teammate?
Yeah, don't tell him, but she got. I think she got on the third clue.
Well, if she got it, then I'm guaranteed to get it.
She knew his wife. Can you imagine?
Of course.
All right, we good?
Yep.
And then I had another question because last show we talked a little bit about the Mariners on a win streak. And I just was kind of wondering, in the locker room, for the vibe of the locker room, do you want to be playing your best baseball right now, or do you want to just kind of be? You want
to get there.
Like if you're a team that's already in, right? Detroit, Toronto, Chicago, Philly, Milwaukee, Los Angeles. If you're one of those teams,
that question is only relevant to a team that's been there and been around the block, right? Because you don't know how a young team's going to react. A team like the Dodgers. They just want to get there, and
so Philly and the Dodgers would be the two of those teams that I think would fall into that category.
The Phillies are all going to be doing the things they need to do to make sure that whenever their series starts, they're ready to go.
Okay.
And if you're a young team like the Mariners, who hasn't consistently been in it, or the Tigers, you just kind of let the chips fall. You want to get there.
And then you have a little bit of experience with this, being from Arizona too, probably added to it. I asked you before the show do you think there's any added pressure, or do you think that any of these teams that have never won a World Series, like the Padres, the Brewers, the Mariners, have like going in? Do they think
No,
about that stuff at all?
no,
That wasn't
no,
on your guys' mind. Obviously,
no.
it's an expansion team. You
Well,
guys were the fastest ever,
we
but
did it faster than any team in history, so that was like cool. But
but
remember,
that wasn't added pressure.
no, because we
Yeah,
had 9/11. So that
yeah.
took away everything, right? And that took away any, but that was not added pressure. That was, we were in the
More
it
eyes.
was 4 years from start to finish to win it. Which along those lines, by the way, I had a great chance this week to sit down with some people at the Nashville Stars group trying to bring baseball to Nashville. Really great conversation. Some really great. I can't even imagine there's a city in this country more ready for baseball in the big leagues than Nashville, and I'm very excited for them and the group. So,
Yeah. Get the Rays out of Tampa.
yeah.
I also I've been poor at my job of keeping up with comments and questions. I appreciate you guys leaving them. One of the funnier comments I wanted to read though was coming off our Framber Valdez conversation, and someone said, "Damn, Curt, imagine you did that to Dutch. Your face might look very different."
Yep. But I'm more than smart enough to know I would never do that to anyone, much less Dutch. I had
Yeah.
quite a few catchers that I would have never done that to. I wouldn't have done it anyway, but a couple of them, Dutch and Tech, and yeah, I played with some big boys.
And then Midcape 533 wanted to know, even I think we've talked about best defensive players that you've played with, but he also did slash saw. So guys you didn't necessarily play with, but that you saw that every time you saw them were some of the best position defensive players you've ever seen.
Omar Vizquel.
Okay.
So you remember how people used to go out and watch McGuire hit?
Yeah.
Omar Vizquel was the guy that people would go out and watch him take ground balls because he would do stuff he would catch balls at short and either flip it behind his back with his glove or barehand it behind, no look, and it would be on the bag. He would do stuff around that, and he knew people were watching him. Like he would take a throw to turn two, and it would never touch the inside of his glove. He would catch it on the webbing and just take it, and it like
Just to see if he could.
right. No, just to show you he could. Like he knew how sexy it was, and that people were watching it. And then, you know, from a blue collar work ethic thing, watching Cal Ripken take 100 ground balls every single day of the season was pretty cool. His
Yeah,
dad hitting him.
that's like the people talk that played in the NBA about Kobe being in the gym
Yeah.
at 3 a.m., like the 1,000 hacks type of thing.
Yep.
The work ethic. Yeah.
Yep.
I can imagine
Yep.
that. All right, you got anything else? You want to play a game? We got some good games going right now. The Reds and Cubs are knotted up at 1, and Crochet goes for the Sox tonight. But yep.
Is he throwing tonight? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they need him now more than ever.
Yep. Well, this is what an ace does.
So, all right, we got guess your teammate tonight. Oh! I also did have this. We have a mayor's bet, right? You'll be wearing a Tom Brady jersey the show after if the Patriots win. I owe you 100 push-ups at your time, any time of your choosing, as many as you want.
Right. Yep.
If the Steelers somehow pull off a miracle and win their first game in Gillette since 2008. The Patriots, by the way, that's a real stat. 17 years since you guys have won a game in Foxborough.
With anything.
I know you don't care. You were
Tom
there
Brady's
for plenty
not the
of them.
quarterback anymore. Bill Belichick's gone.
I said
It's a new
2008.
franchise.
I said
Right.
2008.
Right.
There's
They're all
been
gone.
plenty of time since
No, there
Brady was the
hasn't.
quarterback. Yes.
No.
Okay. Patriots are wearing throwback Reds at Gillette. How much does that scare you?
I like those. Are those the ones with the old Patriot
Pat
logo?
the Patriot. Yep.
Those are
Yep.
big leagues.
I mean that's
Although
worth 3 points on the spread right there.
But stop, because they're still like 10 spots below the Steelers for greatest sports uniforms.
But they are rising to meet the occasion, you know.
No.
Yes.
No,
yes.
No.
That's the best jersey we have.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. It's good for 12th in the NFL history. Pittsburgh's number 1. So all right.
I mean, we just rest on the Lombardi trophies. Anyway, all right.
Right. I agree.
Five.
All 6
Sorry,
of ours.
we're done with the football.
Okay.
All right, we're playing Guess Your Teammate now. 5 clues for a former team, my dad's, ranging from difficult to easy. The first clue. I had a 15-year career for 4 different teams, 3 NL and 1 AL, where I played at the hot corner.
4 AL, 1 NL?
3 NL, 1 AL.
3 NL, 1 AL. Matt Williams. Okay.
I had 49 plate appearances against you in my career and was 11 for 45 with 4 home runs.
Ken Caminiti?
Ken Caminiti. You got it on the clue before Mom did.
Okay. I better have.
I didn't know he won an MVP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the year they were in Mexico, and they went to Mexico to play, and he got food poisoning. And in the middle of a doubleheader, took an IV and went out and had 4 hits in the second game. It was one of those. It's a tragic post-baseball story, incredibly tragic, but a phenomenal team, hilarious, and yes, one of the best defensive players I ever saw too. Strongest arm.
An important one to talk about in a time where baseball kind of tried to shy away from telling those stories when drug addiction and stuff like that was kind of shoot under the table.
By the way, if you can find it, look at the highlight of him throwing across the diamond from his ass, throwing a strike from outside the fair territory across the diamond in the air from his ass, throwing a guy out.
Throwing a strike.
Yes, absolute rocket arm.
And he was a bit of a man rocket, I don't swing for that team.
Dude, he was a lot of a man rocket.
I looked him up, and when mom guessed him, she looked at Danielle and goes, "He was a good-looking man too."
Yeah. Yep, he was a very good-looking guy, great guy, and just like I said, what a horrible last chapter of that story.
The MVP season, 40 home runs, 130 RBIs, 326 batting average. It's crazy.
And he admitted he juiced.
He's not one of the guys that you hear about though when you hear about and it's because of the end of the story not being what MLB wants to talk about I'm sure.
Yep. So. And I understand it.
But that doesn't make him any less part of the game.
No, and he was a great teammate. He was a great teammate. Charlie Morton went 1 in the third tonight, gave up 6 runs, 6-0 to Atlanta in the second. That's just what a nightmare that is.
They're on autopilot though.
Yeah.
The Tigers. That's why I'm saying, is it better to have the Blue Jays or the Tigers? Blue Jays and Tigers or Orioles and White Sox and the Yankees.
That's 3.5 now, dude.
The Yankees a month ago are probably looking at the end of their schedule like, all right, we got some cupcakes near the end, but.
Yep, but the Tigers, if they lose tonight, which it looks like they probably will, they might not, but and Cleveland wins, they're 2.5 up.
Yeah,
and then the nightmare situation where you may need Scooble to pitch you into the playoffs. Like,
can you imagine after what we've been talking about this whole time?
Nope.
But that's why I play the games.
Yep. All right, Bubba. Love you.
Good show. Love you
Friday
too.
We'll catch you guys on Sunday. Have a great weekend. Take care, Bub.
I'll see you in a Brady jersey. Love you.
All right, Bub.
Bye.
Go Steelers.